Hello. So, as of this week, it has been 1 year since I left Twitter as a platform because Halloween was a few days ago, and my last tweet was my Halloween costume from last year. It was this one right here. So, I never really explained why I left, but I think it has had me leaving has had only a positive impact on my life. And I just think that this is a success story in habit changing because sometimes I feel like in this modern era, a lot of habits we form are not really our own conscious decision. All these apps are designed to kind of like grab our attention and then use this like addictive dopamine cycle to get us to keep scrolling on TikTok or whatever. That's part of the reason behind Hank Green, his new app, Focus Friend. I mean, this is not an ad for Focus Friend. Like, honestly, like, it just crossed my mind, like, oh, this is a similar idea. I have this blue bean, by the way. But anyway, um, it feels sometimes that like people will say like, oh, if you want to have control over your life, you just need to like shed the bad habits and adopt new good habits. But in some ways, I feel like it is nearly impossible to do that when these billion-dollar companies are spending so like all this research trying to focus on how can we make it really difficult for users to leave, like whether that's like uh just a website like Adobe making it really hard to unsubscribe from Creative Cloud as a subscription service, or maybe not Adobe, but like lots of other sites do that, right? Like the enshittification of the internet, or more like subconscious effects, like I don't know, just by making it the network effect on Facebook. Like you can't leave Facebook because all your friends are on Facebook, and I don't know, all these things sometimes make me feel a little pessimistic when a friend out there who is too optimistic will say, "Oh, you have this bad habit, just train yourself to not do it and then you'll be good." But I'm like, it's not that easy. Otherwise, like, because there's billions of people who have these addictions, and it's like clearly there's a lot of forces at play bigger than us, right? So I think the fact that I have been able to just leave Twitter for good, I think is really inspiring to me. And one of the few times in my life that I feel like I've had agency. Okay, that maybe it's an exaggeration, but I wanted to talk about how I did it. First of all, let me just. Okay, so I'm not gonna like. Yeah, let's just change the thing to this because yeah, I know it's called X now and it's been X for like 2 or 3 years, but I'm still gonna call it Twitter. So what I noticed is that like I tried to use these like block site, um, plugins where it's like, oh, if you type in twitter.com, it'll say like, don't do that, or like, are you sure you want to go to the site? But then it's like, because I set up the block, like I would just like override it. I'd just be like, that was just like Carrie from Wednesday being a little too like uh puritanical. Carrie from Thursday is just as important from Carrie on Wednesday. I'm gonna disable the blocker, and I feel like none of those uh safeguards really worked because they were self-imposed, whereas if it was like a school imposing it or like my parents imposing it, like that would have more effect if I were a kid back then. So what I found did work is that I created a new Twitter account with none of the interests that I had shared on my first account. So, my first account has a lot of stuff at BFDI or a lot of my real life friends. And so what would happen is that as soon as I would type twitter.com almost subconsciously to check on stuff, there would be tweets from either people I care about or people talking about topics I care about instantly in front of me, and I'd be like, oh, I want to read more about that conversation. Or a lot of times they'd be inflammatory, and I'd be like, oh, I'm really mad about this. Let me read the replies to make sure someone is on my side, replying kind of on behalf of me, because I rarely get involved in stuff. So anyway, what I did was I created a new account, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's very secret. Okay, so I followed like topics that I think could not cause controversy and are only like wholesome. So an example would be like uh, science, education, literature, these sort of things that are like very kind of broad and very calm waters. Like the people there are not very upsetting. So then I just followed like 10 accounts of that and then just left it be. So now when I go to twitter.com, it'll just show me the most boring tweets about like uh I don't know. Not boring tweets about science, but like non-inflammatory tweets about science. The thing is like, oh, so you're not gonna now you're gonna start using this account, but no, like the purpose was to get me off of Twitter entirely. Like I didn't want to start a new life on Twitter. I just didn't want to have a life on Twitter. So what I noticed is like now if I type twitter.com, and I'm not gonna do it now because I don't want people to know what the account is. Am I logged in here? No, I'm not. I'm not logged in here. So when I go to twitter.com, like because there's nothing inflammatory and nothing related to me, it won't it'll be boring and I won't want to continue scrolling on it, and then I'll leave within like a minute or less, like 30 seconds. And I think that's exactly what I wanted. And so even though I had that Twitter like secret Twitter account, it just like I've never tweeted from it. I've never liked a single thing on it. Like that's just been the end. So I think within like a month or two, I just stopped going to the site. So I'm very happy about that. Another thing about Twitter that's very interesting, and I almost feel like it is a good feature, although most people wouldn't like it, is that if you're not logged into Twitter like I'm not now, and then you click on this tweet, you can see the statistics. Oh no, wait, never mind. Actually, there was something going on where like if you would go to the link of a tweet and then scroll down if you hadn't logged in, it wouldn't show you any replies. And I actually really liked that because sometimes I wouldn't want to know what the replies were, but it's showing me replies right now. So I guess that's different, or some setting is different. So actually, yeah, I take that back. Um, but yeah, I just think that like I don't know. I think when it comes to like social media in general, I sometimes tell myself like, oh, it's my job to learn what is happening in the market, to like understand what trends are trending, so that I can like post similar things to that trend, and kind of like have the audience feel like they know me and I know them, which I think is a valuable thing. But it is definitely not justifying the hours and hours I'm wasting in that regard. So like I don't want to like do a complete social media cleanse. But I think that like I'm trying to lessen as much as possible, and Twitter being subtracted entirely has only been a good thing. But I also think that when I think about like was life worse pre social media, like when I think about like the late 2000s when I was like making flash games on the computer, I feel like I didn't feel like I was missing anything. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I wish there was more stuff for me to browse on the internet. I did totally fine on the computer with no internet connection for hours and hours, just by like coding interesting games, and like entertaining myself basically. I mean, that's what kids do, right? It's like, oh, they can play in the sandbox for hours and hours and just come up with fun stories for themselves, and they don't need like outside input. But I was like, now it feels like if I don't have internet connection on my phone, I am really bored. And I think that is a shame, because I was like, where did that magic go, or like where did that skill go that child me had, and can I bring it back? um so yeah, I don't know if it's a change in personality, or if it's because we've all become so used to just having a constant internet connection. But I think that like social media is sort of the thing where it's like it's a Pandora's box. Once it's here to stay. Like I think everyone who says like let's try to use less social media, they're always going to be in the minority. Like there'll always be people who are on social media cleanses, but they will always be like a subset of people, kind of like the people who are on diets, or are on like I don't know, just any sort of like, or boycotting, let's say. Like they're always going to be in the minority, because the vast majority of people don't have the mental energy to commit to something like that. Yeah. So yeah, that is okay. But I think, yeah, I don't know. I just think, isn't it interesting that like I've never felt like, oh, I'm out of the loop because I'm not on Twitter. That's what I used to fear in 2020 or 2021. I used to think that like, oh, I have to be plugged into Twitter, because what if some huge news story breaks, or more importantly, like what if people online are starting to talk about me on Twitter and I don't know? That would be awful. But I'm just sort of realizing like that's actually wonderful, but also if there really is some news story that is so important for me to know, or like some situation happening where people are talking about me that's so critical that I need to know, there will be other ways for that information to get to me, either by like some of my friends who I trust who are still on Twitter who are telling me, or the news breaking on other locations like mainstream media, which I mean I don't really trust, but like like Reddit, or email, or I don't know, just there's some YouTube videos. Actually, I feel like YouTube videos, like I will much rather watch a 10 to 20 minute video essay about a news story a few days after the fact, that's been like edited, polished, and like is more analytical and more like interesting than an instant tweet the day of. Like I think there's almost no downside to waiting for the YouTube story, especially when like I'm not super involved. Like who cares if I'm 2 days late? So anyway, yeah, I think that like this site, I would be totally fine if that site just completely stopped existing. And I mean, I know, I'm sure you already pieced this together, but I think the main reason was because like I was losing so much energy, mental energy, just like getting mad at what people were saying on Twitter. And I think that like peace of mind is one of the most valuable things in this world, and I feel like it's so hard to get peace of mind these days. So that's why I'm done with Twitter. And it's so interesting. Like, do any of you remember Miley Cyrus and how she used to be one of the most subscribed YouTubers? I'm saying, do I remember? Like, as if she doesn't exist. She still exists, of course. But like, she had this channel on YouTube called Miley and Mandy that was like in the top 50 most subscribed, like in 2000. 2010, and I was like, of course it was, because she's a super celebrity, and it probably could have been even more subscribed. But the point I want to make is she made a video called "Goodbye Twitter" in 2009 that I remember being like one of the most viewed on the entire website, and like it's just interesting that that was like 2.5 decades ago. And there's a line that she says where it's like, there's some lyric where it's like, I stopped talking about life and I started talking about pimples. Where, because I guess back then Twitter's like shtick was like, oh, anything boring going on in your life, tweet it out. If you're eating a hamburger, tweet it. If you're like dog tripped on the road, tweet it out. So like I think that was the reception that Twitter had, that like it was just like people talking about mindless stuff. Oh yeah, here it is. Goodbye Twitter. Yeah, I remember. I didn't remember when this video came out, but I remember watching this video when it was like a year old or something. But like, let's see. Yeah, October 2009. Is it focusing? October 2009, and has 19 million views. I remember watching this. But now Twitter has a very different reputation of like, what's the word? Political polarization, blue checkmark bots and Grok and AI and slop, and I don't know. I think it's gotten worse. So if it was already bad back then for people to want to leave, it is definitely bad enough now. Well, also yeah. So how long is this video? 11 minutes. Let's leave it at that. I don't want to do any more 20-minute rambles. Those no one has time for. Right? So I think I like that this video would be nice and short and about like a success story. And let me know in the comments if you guys have any sites you're hoping to leave and what strategies you want to employ to make that happen. And maybe we can share tips, because, okay, so I guess here's my plan. So I do have sites that I want to stay on because I post stuff that makes me feel good. Or not feel good, but like I feel like there's more of an impact. So like things like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, I still post to, but I would like to be that like my ratio of like mindless scrolling to posting. I hope I post more than a mindless scroll, but it's definitely the other way right now. But yeah, I definitely want to leave Twitter, and I think that like I've wanted to leave TikTok as well, but it's just like the easiest way to like interact with fans, 100%. I've left LinkedIn for good. I mean, that was like a while ago. I mean, I was on LinkedIn a lot when I was in college because everyone's looking for jobs. So I feel like that one I'm not as like wowed by myself about. Well, I guess I could pull out my phone. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, let's just end the video now. So yeah, let me know if there's any other sites that you want to leave, and like, okay, here's the idea. Maybe you could like I don't want to like give you writing instructions, but like what will be different about your life once that site is no longer taking up hours of your time? Okay, you know what, never mind, I'm just gonna upload this video just in case people have sort of like had a similar thoughts and like they're like, what's out there. Okay, but yeah, actually I have a flight. Everyone always has a flight to catch, but that's kind of what forced me to make this video. It's like, oh, it's now or never. So I'll go on the flight now. So thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.